recent project that I'm working on, a little 4-acre place. This guy, he wants to make a little farm and market garden. He lives up in North Texas. This design here kind of probably took me like 4 or 5 hours, just real quick, and on the computer and everything. I learned kind of like a new system of design at the regrarians workshop from Darren Doherty. He taught us all about the keyline scale permanence, which is like a step-by-step system of design that really makes it easy and organized. I guess so. Geoff Lawton's doing, more homestead, smaller farm type stuff, and the regrarians platform is more geared towards like production and agriculture and making profit and building a lot of soil. Basically, you have like a ripper that you drag behind a tractor, and it's just like a big hook that goes into the ground, and it's got a point like an arrowhead at the tip of it. And when you drag that through the ground, then it decompacts the soil and lets water into the ground, and it lets air into the ground.
And how deep does that go?
Well, you start off shallow, and then as the soil improves, you can go deeper. So you can go all the way up to 26 inches. You can't just go straight into 26 inches. You gotta start off at like 6, and then work your way down to 9, 12, 15, that kind of thing.
So do these rips are they always there? And how about how wide are they?
They're like that wide.
Oh.
But you do them at a higher frequency. So the advantage to that is there's no berm, there's no swale.
So the hook is super thin.
Well, the shank is pretty thin. It's less than an inch. It's maybe more like
and that's what
half
you
an
see.
inch.
Like that's what you see left over, but the arrow underneath.
Yeah, the arrow underneath is it's breaking up the soil underneath and decompacting it. So basically what you've done is you just relieved compaction just a little bit, and you allow a little bit of air and oxygen and water to get into the soil and infiltrate. That kind of stimulates the biology in the soil, which basically builds topsoil. And then so you go down next time, get another 3 inches or something. The further you go down, and you have roots are penetrating more easily as well when you do that. So it's just a different system for building soil and harvesting water. So this place, 4 acres, there's probably about 6 to 8 feet of elevation drop over the whole place. So it's relatively flat, and there's no trees, and it's in a very windy area, so he's got a lot of problems with, wind coming in and like freezing his pipes and, just blowing his seedlings away. In the garden. He wants to have a market garden, so you want to have like a more protected microclimate. After you kind of study the climate and the geography of the place, the next step is to put in a water layer. So and that's for this place is the irrigation system and the subsoiling, and all of that is patterned based off of keyline patterning. This I would not call keyline patterning because it's not strict keyline. I went off of it and just kind of did what I thought was right. Irrigation system is patterned in that same pattern as well. So you can see all those little lines kind of based off the contour. And you can go off, you don't have to be on contour. Because like with a berm and swale, you're holding back water, and that little impoundment creates runoff wherever you let it go. Whereas these subsoiling rips, the water just kind of goes into those and soaks in, and any runoff that is happening just kind of goes over the top, like as if it was just going down slope. But you can move water with these rips very subtly. There's a little pond here, got not that much catchment. They say that you need in this area 8 to 10 acres of surface area catchment coming to your pond to fill this size of pond, which is 0.2 acres.
Who's they?
The NRCS. You go to, it's called a Web Soil Survey. Just type that in and search that, and it'll take you to the NRCS webpage, and you can get a really in-depth soil report general soil report for your area. I also kind of like cross-reference this with USDA information and maps. So I don't know if it's like 100% accurate, but I guess it's pretty close.
Well, it's a good start, yeah.
Yeah, this place.
Is it like a calculator or something?
It's just a map, and it's got lines on it saying, if you're in this area, you need this much catchment to fill this size of pond.
Cool.
Yeah, per acre foot. Anytime I'm doing any kind of water impoundment or swales or ponds or whatever, you want to make sure you get the catchment calculations and make sure that you're going to handle all the runoff that's going to come to that structure. So this pond only has like 5 acres catchment. So it's a little bit underneath what the recommended amount is, but it will fill up in big rain. Also, the soils are decent for holding water, but not the best, because he can't afford a pond liner or anything. Yeah, the main purpose of this pond is to absorb the runoff, the extra runoff, and have a redundancy in water source. And we're also going to harvest some materials out of this pond to build a road. So he's going to probably make the money back just in materials that we get out of the pond to build the road that it costs to build the pond. The pond helps build the road as well as collect water, and so we're going to try and make it deep as possible in this situation to take advantage of that material. This is the forestry layer. Everything still is patterned off the same thing. Since there's so much wind, that's why we have this hedge planting going around the entire edge of the property. We want to try and insulate him from the wind and all his animals and crops as well. So that's what
do you think you're going to use as the hedge?
Native plants, the cedar and yopon. Maybe we might try like some of those Arizona cypress. And on the south side, it'll be more of like a deciduous hedge, so that because the south wind comes in the summer, so we don't need it too much in the winter. We want to keep that open for sunlight to come in. North side, evergreen, kind of thick, bushy plants, and then on the south side, we'll do like still native plants. We want it to be strong and hardy and not have to use that much water on them. We can use all our water resources on the production. These trees in here, the circles, are overstory trees like pecan or oak or walnut, something like that, like a big chestnut, like a big overstory tree. It needs the shade protection. That's how I spaced the whole overstory trees out. The green strips, kind of like understory fruit trees. But it's not just trees, there's also going to be some shrubs in there, and some perennial plants and native plants, medicinal stuff too. This purple area, those are like the proposed market garden sites, and those are kind of nested into the middle of the property in the places that we're going to have the most protection. And so that's kind of his gig. He wants to do vegetables and sprouts and stuff like that. And he also wants to do chickens. So the yellow area are like the grazing laneways, intensive chicken production in these pasture areas, which he's already doing that. He's already moving chickens around. Well, if he had the money and wanted to slap this in all at once, maybe done in a month. We could get the pond and the road built in less than 2 weeks. And then the irrigation system would probably take a couple of days. Planting these amounts of trees, maybe a day or two. Not that hard, it's just when people have good direction and they have a good plan to go towards, tend to do that more quickly.